Picture this for a moment. Your paycheck hits your bank account. For a few hours, maybe a day, there's a sense of relief. Bills get paid, groceries get bought. Maybe there's even enough left over for a small treat. And then, almost without noticing, the money is gone. The countdown to the next paycheck begins again. Now, here's the uncomfortable question. If you've been working for years, sometimes decades, why does it still feel like you're running on a financial treadmill that never stops? According to multiple large-scale surveys in the United States and other developed economies, a majority of working adults live paycheck to paycheck, regardless of income level, not just low earners. Teachers, nurses, engineers, people earning well above the national median. So if hard work alone doesn't break the cycle, what does? Today, we're going to unpack the real reasons most people never escape the paycheck cycle. Not motivational cliches, not get-rich-quick fantasies, but the psychological, economic, and structural forces that quietly lock people into financial survival mode, and what understanding them can do for your future. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may never look at money, work, or your paycheck the same way again. More than a money problem at first glance, the paycheck cycle seems simple. You earn money, you spend money, you repeat. If you're short, the obvious answer sounds logical: earn more or spend less. But if it were that simple, the data would look very different. A 2023 report from the Federal Reserve found that a significant portion of American adults would struggle to cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing or selling something. Similar patterns appear in the UK, Canada, and parts of Europe. Even in households with dual incomes, financial fragility is widespread. This tells us something important. The paycheck cycle isn't just about income. It's about systems, habits, incentives, and pressures that shape how money flows through our lives. To understand why most people never escape it, we need to zoom out, way out, and then slowly zoom back in. The cost of living has outpaced the cost of labor. Let's start with one of the most concrete factors: wages versus expenses. Over the past several decades, productivity in many advanced economies has steadily increased. Workers produce more value per hour than ever before. But wages, adjusted for inflation, have grown far more slowly. Housing is a clear example. In many major cities, rent and home prices have increased at a pace that far exceeds wage growth. Data from housing authorities and economic research groups consistently show that housing costs now consume a larger share of income than they did for previous generations. Healthcare is another major pressure point. In the United States especially, employer-based health insurance premiums, deductibles, and out-of-pocket costs have risen significantly over time. Even people with insurance can face financial stress from medical bills. Education adds another layer. Student loan debt affects tens of millions of adults, often shaping their financial decisions well into their 30s, 40s, and beyond. Monthly loan payments reduce disposable income before any saving even begins. When essential costs rise faster than paychecks, the result isn't poor planning, it's math. And math doesn't negotiate. The invisible trap. Now let's talk about something more subtle and often more uncomfortable: lifestyle inflation. When income goes up, spending often follows. This isn't because people are reckless. It's because humans adapt quickly. What once felt like a luxury soon feels normal. A slightly better apartment becomes necessary for peace of mind. A newer car becomes justified for reliability. Streaming subscriptions, food delivery, upgraded phones, individually small, collectively massive. Behavioral economists have studied this phenomenon extensively. As income increases, expectations rise alongside it. The baseline for comfort shifts, and without intentional boundaries, extra income gets absorbed into a more expensive version of the same life. This is why many people earning high salaries still report living paycheck to paycheck. Their expenses grew quietly, steadily, and socially reinforced until there was no margin left. The psychology of scarcity. Living paycheck to paycheck doesn't just affect your bank account. It affects your brain. Research in behavioral science shows that financial scarcity consumes mental bandwidth. When money is tight, people are forced to focus on immediate problems: rent, bills, groceries, deadlines. Long-term planning becomes harder, not because of laziness, but because cognitive resources are limited. This creates a feedback loop. When you're under constant financial stress, you're more likely to make short-term decisions that feel relieving in the moment, even if they're costly later. High-interest debt, impulse spending, And missed opportunities for saving aren't moral failures, they're predictable outcomes of chronic pressure. Scarcity narrows your field of vision. It keeps you reacting instead of strategizing. And the paycheck cycle thrives on reaction. Debt as a structural default debt deserves its own spotlight. In modern economies, debt is normalized early and often. Student loans are framed as investments. Credit cards are marketed as convenience. Car loans stretch across 6 or 7 years. Buy now, pay later services turn everyday purchases into future obligations. None of these tools are inherently evil, but together, they create a system where future income is already promised before it's earned. Interest amplifies the problem. Even modest interest rates can significantly increase the total cost of purchases over time. And when income is mostly allocated to servicing debt, saving becomes optional or impossible. The paycheck arrives and it's already spoken for. Lack of financial education isn't an accident. One of the most striking patterns across countries is how little formal financial education most people receive. Many school systems spend years teaching advanced mathematics yet never explain compound interest, budgeting, credit scores, or long-term investing in a practical way. As a result, people enter adulthood making major financial decisions with limited understanding of their long-term consequences. This gap doesn't stay theoretical. It shows up in how people choose loans, how they use credit, and how long they delay investing. Studies consistently show that early financial literacy correlates with better long-term outcomes. Yet access to that literacy is uneven, and often left to families who may themselves be struggling. When knowledge is missing, the paycheck cycle fills the gap. Time, poverty, and exhaustion, another reason people stay stuck, has nothing to do with intelligence or discipline. It has to do with time. Many workers juggle long hours, multiple jobs, caregiving responsibilities, or unpredictable schedules. After a full day of work and life demands, the energy required to analyze finances, plan investments, or build side income simply isn't there. Time poverty leads to convenience choices. Convenience costs more. Prepared meals cost more than cooking. Quick fixes cost more than long-term solutions. Inaction costs more than strategy. But when survival takes priority, optimization feels like a luxury. Risk aversion built by instability. Escaping the paycheck cycle often requires some level of risk. Changing careers, starting a business, negotiating salary, investing in education or assets. But when you're financially fragile, risk feels dangerous. If one missed paycheck could lead to eviction, debt, or crisis, stability, even a fragile one, feels safer than potential growth. This keeps people locked into situations that don't build wealth but do provide predictability. Economists and sociologists have observed this pattern across income levels. Financial instability reduces risk tolerance, which in turn reduces upward mobility. It's not fear holding people back. It's rational caution. The myth of just work harder, perhaps the most damaging narrative surrounding the paycheck cycle, is the idea that hard work alone guarantees escape. Hard work matters, but it doesn't operate in a vacuum. Opportunity, timing, education, health, social networks, and geography all play measurable roles in economic outcomes. Ignoring these factors places the burden entirely on individuals while overlooking systemic realities. When people internalize this myth, they often blame themselves for structural problems. Shame replaces strategy. Silence replaces curiosity. And the cycle continues, unchallenged. Understanding the system doesn't remove responsibility, but it does restore clarity. What actually breaks the cycle, breaking the paycheck cycle, usually doesn't happen overnight. It's not one dramatic decision. It's a series of small, often unglamorous shifts. It begins with awareness, knowing where money actually goes, not where we think it goes. It grows with margin. Even small buffers reduce stress and expand options. It strengthens through education. Understanding how money works changes how it's used. And over time, it compounds. Not just financially, but mentally. The shift from survival to strategy changes everything. Importantly, none of this guarantees wealth, but it increases autonomy. And autonomy is the opposite of the paycheck cycle. Why this conversation matters. If most people never escape the paycheck cycle, it's not because they're incapable. It's because the system they're operating in rewards consumption, normalizes debt, and undervalues long-term thinking. Talking about this openly matters, because once you see the patterns, You can interrupt them, you can ask better questions. You can design your financial life with intention instead of default. And even if you're still in the cycle today, understanding it is the first real step out. If this video resonated with you, if it put words to something you felt but never fully understood, then you're not alone. And you're exactly who this channel is for. Here, we break down complex ideas about money, work, psychology, and society in a way that's honest, grounded, and practical. No hype. No shortcuts, just clarity. If you found value in this conversation, take a second to like the video. It helps more people find it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future deep dives like this one. And stay connected, because understanding the system is the first step toward changing your place in it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.